Our project was about competition and test taking by Francis Gindy. Sorry, this is a Franny slide.
Wait a minute.
Franny, your sound's not working.
Okay. So Franny lost. So I'm gonna.
Okay. Our yeah. Should we just go on or?
Let's wait 30 seconds to see if Franny
Okay.
comes back on, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Our research question was, how does the pressure of something feeling like a competition affect your problem-solving skills?
Why is this important? Students take many tests every year, so it is important to understand how to help students do their best on tests. Our research could help determine best test-taking environment.
Now we're going to tell you some background information about our project.
The signs of competition. When people win a competition, dopamine is usually sent to the brain. This can happen even when there is no competition started. When there are more people, you have more people to compare yourself to, which can hurt your performance. Competition puts you under pressure. Depending on who you are, people react differently to the gene. Every person has one or both variants of the cathalo-methyltransfer gene, also known as the COMT gene, and 50% of people have both. This gene dictates how fast you clear dopamine from your brain. Some people get a rush of dopamine under pressure, and people with slow variants, they're also known as the warrior, and these are people with the normal amount of dopamine, and without pressure, pressure gives dopamine overload, so they can't function and do well on a test. But some people, also known as a warrior, do well with do well with pressure, and their normal dopamine levels are too slow, so they need extra boost to do well.
Based on this information, we decided to give people logic puzzles alone, in small groups, and in large groups.
So our hypothesis was that the students will complete the test fastest when they're working in a group with 2 other people in the smaller group, because the competition will benefit them. We also thought that the second most effective number of people would be the bigger group, 6 people, because the benefits of competition will still help them, but there will be so many people that people won't know exactly like who to compare themselves to. So their times will be slower than if they're working in a smaller group. Now we're going to talk about our materials and procedure.
For our materials, we used 3 logic puzzles of equal difficulty, stopwatches, and pencils.
So our procedure was that first we would administer the first logic puzzle to the student while staying in the room with them. And on the side over here, then these are 3 logic puzzles. Once they finish taking the logic puzzle, then we record. Then we record the time that it finishes that they take to finish the test. Then we check to make sure that all of their answers are correct. If one or more of their answers weren't correct, we would resume the timer until the student would get all of the answers correct. Then we repeated those steps 2 more times with 2 more logic puzzles of equal difficulty, the second 2 logic puzzles here. First, the students would be with 2 other students in the same room, and then with 5 other students in the same room. And we had the students stay in the room until everyone had completed the test.
Analysis and conclusion.
We found that our prediction was actually incorrect. And as you can see in this chart over here, then the third test produced the fastest times on average. As you can see, the times got lower as the amount of people got higher. However, there was not a significant difference between all of them. Between the test between 3 students and the test with 6 students, the difference was only 10 seconds. Also, the most people completed the third test fastest, but it wasn't actually a majority. And you can see on the side here, this is our list of times. After our testing, we decided to give our participants a survey of asking them some questions about the test. So here, then, we asked them, during which test did you feel the most pressure to finish the puzzle? So most of them, as you can see here, said that they felt the most pressure during the third test. A lot of these people who said that they felt the most pressure during the third test also said that they worked badly under pressure, and that they did, and also these people didn't have their fastest time during the third trial, suggesting that the pressure harmed them. This suggests that competition is most beneficial to people who work well under pressure. This correlation between working well under pressure and the results could explain why the results were somewhat mixed, because if you react well with pressure, then you would do well. If you react badly to pressure, you would do not as well.
How would we change it if we did it again? We would have a larger sample size, and we might want to try different types of logic puzzles. We would also want to develop an accurate way to determine which variant of the COMT gene a person prominently has. We would also try measuring how many answers a person got correct and
So hang on, sorry. There's also a Franny slide. Franny, is your Wi-Fi working? Okay, she's not here anymore. So we had a small amount, so some of our errors and limitations were that we had a small amount of kids that were taking the test, only 12 students. And also we may have not stopped every timer at the exact time that the person stopped the test. Also, some of the tests were taken on different days, which means that the kids had different hours of sleep, and this could have affected how proficient they were in their problem-solving skills. Also, we created the test ourselves, and although we tried our very hardest to make them the most equal difficulty we could, then they could have been slightly varying in their difficulty. Additionally, each time they did the test, they would gain more experience with that type of a test, which could have made their times faster each time. This could be another explanation.
conclusion. Usually competition is beneficial for people's problem-solving skills because they're pushed to do their best by others. Their reaction to pressure encoded in everybody's DNA.
Here are references.
Any
Questions?
Any questions?
Bravo. That was tough with your technical challenges. You should feel really proud. We're resilient. Okay, so now we are going to transition. You can stop sharing your slides and we're going to transition so that we can see all of your peers. Great. And then we can go through and you can answer a few questions.
Okay. Malaya?
Might like you like I think this is one of your errors, but like how did you know that the tests were like all in equal difficult, like all equal difficult? Like I don't know.
Well, when we were first creating the tests, then we actually tried to complete them ourselves. And so we would do the test and we would record ourselves how long it took. And we kept modifying the tests until all of the tests took around the same time for us, for around like, so that if all three of the tests would take the same time for me, the same time for Talia. So this, and we tried to get the times as close together as possible because this would show that they were around equal difficulty.
Ezra?
If you made the tests, then how did you test the tests?
We tested them on ourselves, and we didn't know the answer. Like each person, like Tallulah made a test, and I made a test, and Rainey made a test, and Itai made a test, and we all tested them on ourselves. And like and I'd give my test to Tallulah to see if our test would be the same and equal difficulty.
We wouldn't test ourselves with the test. We would test, like each was made one, and we would give the other three people the test because they didn't know the answers. Bella?
This is, first of all, I think you guys had a really nice put together slide, and it was really interesting.
Yeah.
In the analysis part, I think I saw a graph where you said the middle one had the lowest on average score, but then there was something next to it that had an even lower. Like I was confused about the graph in your analysis part.
Okay. Well, the graph was showing, so the graph was just showing the average time for the first test, for the first test, the second test, and the third test, the one with one person, three people, and six people.
Oh,
Okay. As
yeah.
it got, like, you could see in the bar, when it said when there was three people, then it was lower than when there was one person.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it, like,
I
went
was just
down,
confused.
and the number of people went up.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle?
I also really liked your slides. Do you think that maybe not making our own tests and maybe getting tests from online with the same amount of difficulty would make your data more accurate?
Well, so when we were first developing our test, then we were trying to figure out a good type of logic puzzle because there are many different types of logic puzzles. We were trying to figure out the best one to use. But we found that this type of logic puzzle, so when we were making it, then we wanted the times to be between like 3 to 7 minutes, depending on the person. And so we found that this logic puzzle was the one that produced around those times, like a good time. However, we found that it was hard to find logic puzzles that were of equal difficulty that were this type, because like a website would have like one of the same difficulty, but not two others of the same difficulty. So we found that in order for us to find many logic puzzles, then we found that it was easiest to just make our own. However, when we were making them, then we did have another logic puzzle that we would refer to, and that would be like the base difficulty, and we kind of based our logic puzzles on that one, although we didn't use it for our testing.
Sarah?
I think I'll be the final question. I really appreciated the thinking that you had at the end when you were looking back to review how you conducted your experiment and the limitations that you had, and also what you would do moving forward if you had more time. And I'm just wondering, when you made that comment, or when you put up the slide about you would be interested in determining which variant of the gene people have, and if you thought about what that experiment would look like, how would you do that?
Well, obviously, then it would be a little bit hard for multiple questions, might help to determine a little bit more accurately, like which one they had, because it was just like one question on the survey, just asking them what do they think. However, if we just asked them almost like almost like a personality quiz, but not a personality quiz, like just asking them some questions, that might help us to get a better idea of how they actually work under pressure.
Can kind of see if they work under pressure and if they're a warrior or a warrior. So I guess people can tell, but we would like to further investigate that.
I like the worrier versus warrior. We can all benefit from that. We need a little of both, probably. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciated all the effort.